Hello and welcome back to Operations with Void. I'm your host, Forgotten Void, and today we are using the Salem to demonstrate how to go into the middle in Newport in a less than ideal ship alone and survive. Anyways, Salem, let's go with the Salem. Salem is a Des Moines class cruiser. The differences are radar and hydro are in the same slot rather than separate slots, and you are forced to get defensive AA, and you get specialized repair teams, so you get a super heal rather than normal. So that's that. Otherwise, she is a Des Moines class cruiser. Oh, and the radar is only 8 kilometers and 8.5 instead of 10. So slightly worse than light cruisers, but still radar. And further range than hydro. Although honestly, I'm running radar now. In ops, hydro is probably actually better, more because it can be used for torpedoes as well. And I will talk about that in the match. Anyways, for consumables, it is standard. We have aiming systems mod 1. Propulsion mod, and none of the others. We have propulsion mod. We have concealment and modification, and then we have the main battery for reload, so even faster reload. So this is your standard cruiser build. And then for commander, who is actually trained for Des Moines, we have the grease the gears because the turning the turrets with grease the gears at improved to plus 20%. It's still 28 seconds for a 180 degree turn. I think it's like 45 base. At least with Des Moines, it's 45 base. Consumables expert for the reload time. We have and gun feeder to swap between HE and AP because you should be swapping between the two in a cruiser, especially a heavy cruiser. Priority target to know who's shooting at me. Focus fire because planes need to die and they need to die now. We have superintendent, so we get an extra heal, an extra radar, extra def AA. The radar can also be replaced with hydro. We have adrenaline rush, so that as we lose HP, our reload goes down. We have concealment expert, and this gets our detectability down to 10.9 kilometers, which allows us to go dark when we want to. And then radio location, and this is so that mainly for Raptor rescue or for randoms to know where the enemy is. Optional, I would say, is heavy AP. So instead of adrenaline rush, you could always swap to heavy AP if you like using the armor piercing more, and this gives you a 5% DPM increase automatically. Well, it doesn't give you a 5%. It's actually 5% with citadels. Like it's a 1.5% normal, and then less than 1%. That's actually why I don't really do it, because it's only 5% increase with citadels. So yeah, you could honestly, I don't even know why they recommend it. You can just skip it because it's 1.5%, less than 1.5% damage increase standard. You might as well just go for adrenaline rush and have more reload. And then top grade gunner. The reason why we don't do this is because we built into concealment. If we built into detectability, or we didn't get the concealment skill and module, then top grade gunner would be useful, but because we did concealment, we are not doing top grade gunner. Okay, and with that, let's go ahead and hop into battle. So we're skipping the loading screen and hopping straight into battle because I pressed the button to record after I saw that it was Newport. So on our team, we have a Jacksonville, a Annapolis, a Schlieffen, a Kurfürst. What else do we have? Yeah, so it's a Annapolis, a Schlieffen, a Kurfürst, a Jacksonville, a Nevsky, and another Salem. Now I want you to take a look and make sure you pay attention to where the enemy is. Look on the minimap and pay attention to where the enemy is. No, not the enemy. The allies, the friendlies. You know, the people you have to fight against to get a win. So we are going to go outside the harbor, because when you are broadside onto enemies, you have a bigger target to shoot at. They're easier to shoot at, and it's easier to get citadels. Of course, right now this brings us into line of fire with any enemies, but we have already passed the point where they're shooting at us, and we have really good targets on the York. No more York. So unfortunately, if we were in the Jacksonville position, we would have been really good to get up there. But we didn't quite, we spawned back behind the Jacksonville and the Annapolis. And so that spawn is usually filled by battleships, so it's not so great for a cruiser. And the Des Moines class isn't particularly fast. It's only 30 knot heavy cruiser. So that also hinders us from going forward. So we're not able to get into position to shoot the broadside of any of the others. Now we could have stayed back, but instead we're going to move forward. And honestly, I should have stayed dark here, because we have the concealment. We might as well use the concealment. I should have stayed dark until I got behind the island. But silly me. Oh, I can shoot now, right? No. Already detected. So this is where concealment would have been helpful. Because if I was still concealed, I could have gotten behind the island without being spotted, without being shot at. Instead, we're turning to try and dodge this, and we get citadeled for 21,000 damage with that one shell. 21,000 damage citadel. So, because it was 21,000 in one single citadel, okay, maybe it was 20,000 plus an overpay. But because we received that much damage, and it was a citadel, we can't really heal most of it back. And so we used our super heal, but it still puts us now at max of half of our HP. So now we're going to have to play it safe, because now we are a low HP, and we must not get shot at. So this is where we are going to use our conceal, and we are going to use the islands. So we're activating radar, and the radar will let us keep the destroyer lit so our team can shoot at. Now here we are using the island, so we're only shooting our front guns. We're hiding behind the island to only use the front guns so that we can stay undetected, or at least not be a good target while shooting at the Frederick the Ghost. So we're shooting at Freddy, and then we went back to being undetected, so they're not shooting at us. I'll shoot at a teammate. Yes, please. Someone else take the damage. We've taken enough. So we're just going to focus him down because, you know, he took 21,000 damage from 2 shells in 1 salvo. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah, this is where some people complain about the mods being buffed. I mean, yes, they're being buffed because there's 2 super ships on our team. The super ships are not so useful, but yeah, since, you know, everybody's crowding around the green circle, like, you die if you get outside the green circle. You don't die if you get outside the green circle. You only die if you go out and then turn off your brain cells. So, like, we did a stupid and we fired before we were behind cover. And you get behind cover, or you get into a position where you're not shooting, or you get angles, or like our Grover Kerfers could very well come out here and thrive with secondaries and broadside targets. Same with Stephen. But no, they rather sit and use their guns on bow-in targets. While in real life, like Tsushima being a famous example, crossing the T and getting all of your guns onto a ship and giving your strongest armor towards the enemy usually meant you were going to win. Usually. In wargaming, it's different because warships, the side of your armor showing broadside means you're more likely to be hit and show you're more likely to be hit, more likely to get sitted out, and so bow in showing a small target while using only bow guns has become the meta, and this is actually how you can do well. So that is what we're doing. We're showing our bow so that we have a small target. We used our DCP the first time while we're healing so we could actually heal back up more while the fire is running. There we go. We got the Harugumo. That was the dangerous one. Let's see if we can get this Hindenburg real quick before it goes behind the island. Not quite able to get it, but we are able to set a fire. Now, by being bow on, we can easily dodge torps as they come at us because we are showing a narrow profile, and bots generally set their torps into widespread unless you are really close. Okay, so we got the Yamagiri with the detonation. Now we're going to use armor piercing against the Venezia. First salvo is high explosive. I do a couple of salvos of armor piercing. Ooh, 4 citadels from that salvo. Oh, another 3 citadels from that salvo. Venezia is almost dead, so we're going to let our team finish that off while we focus down the Elbing. This is where radar is more useful than Hydro, because it could detect the Elbing from further away. However, all those torps at us, yes, Hydro would have been more helpful than radar. However, because we know where the ships are and about when they would throw their torps at us, we had our bows already to them. And there's, yep, Nevsky there, full oh, no, Nevsky took some damage, but Grober Kerfers, full health. You know, we've taken more damage than the Grober Kerfers and the Stephen combined. Anyways, now we're gonna get armor piercing to the broadside of the Venezia and the Hindenburg. And now, at this point, you know, it doesn't really matter that if we're spotted or not, but there's a smoke screen in front of us, laid by a bot. Might as well take advantage of that. It's like a hamburger sitting on the ground, wrapped up with a bow on top. So, yeah, because the other Des Moines is closer, it doesn't really matter, but we, you know, we wouldn't be shot at anyways, either way. And we get the Venezia kill. And speaking of the Des Moines actually gets damage reduction. So it has about 50% damage reduction from the enemy. So even though the enemies has buffed damage, the Des Moines gets damage reduction. So we don't really have to worry too much about the Des Moines. And the Des Moines actually gets buffed damage as well. So it is a nasty ship if it actually, once it actually starts fighting. Another thing we're going to do is now we're going to run away. So the ships actually have difficulty aiming up to the surveillance station, especially the one on the left side at G2. Because it's so high up, they generally aim below the surveillance station and can't shoot it. And since bots shoot target the closest, their closest enemy, then they will target the surveillance station first. And this will allow us to open up. Now, we were actually dark for a little bit, just in case they started targeting us. But now that the Piemonte is in our base detection range, we're going to go ahead and open up. Because there's no reason not to. But at the same time, we are moving to get behind this island. Because once we get behind this island, now we're undetected. We can use our floaty shells, shoot over the island, while being undetected. And the Schlieffen, you know, finally decided to go outside the bay alone into the middle of all the enemy ships. Rather than taking one side, so that only one of the ships can shoot at him, or he can control how many ships he can shoot that shoot at him, he went to the middle. Now at this point, and yeah, he died, just like what happens when you go into the middle, and where every single ship can shoot at you. Whereas we sit on the side where things cannot shoot us. Now, the person gets too close, so we can't shoot. We can't really shoot over the island. Here, I'm trying to shoot over the island, see what I can do. It gets to a point where we can start to shoot over. So we're going to do that. But at the point, it's already really low health by the time we can shoot over the island. But the point is, we are staying out of the way, so that even if they did start to look at us, we can quickly get into cover, quickly get out of the way of shells, and so we can survive. And this allows us at 11,000 hit points to stay in the battle, stay in the fight, continue our DPM, and continue while farming damage. Now, one thing about the Des Moines class, especially Salem, the main gun battery range is pretty low for a tier 10. So here we are at 15.8. This has advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are your gunfire bloom, that when you get detected when firing is only 15.8 kilometers. So you can use islands more effectively. The downside being that you can only engage targets 15 or so kilometers away. So like here, we're shooting at Satsuma because it's the only thing we can shoot at. And we had to wait until it was 16 kilometers away when we started shooting, because it would get into our gunfire range by the time the shells landed with how floaty they are. But as you see, we have a 4-second reload now. Pretty spicy reload on 203 8-inch guns, 203 millimeter 8-inch guns. So, and the Satsuma goes away because of the other Salem. They're able to secure that kill. And now, because we're turning, we're able to get all 3 of our turrets onto the Naval as we are pressing into it, even though it doesn't really matter because now everybody's shooting at it because there's no other enemy ships to shoot at. It's Only the Armada. And there we go. Victory. We have 392k damage, which is decent game. We get 5 stars because we completed everything. We were the only one to go out. We still survived and did a lot of damage. 504 main battery hits for 6 kills, only 9 citadels, 11 fires. We get a couple of missions done for whatever current event that is. We have C-Star and Assistant. So on the team, the only thing that gets above us is an Annapolis by 66 points. They only got 66 points more or less. And Annapolis actually has a base XP. Super ships have a base XP multiplier. So they might have done less than us and still got more base XP, although they did get 8 kills. The station that went on the suicide, it actually did well. But you notice there's a Salem at the bottom. Same ship. They didn't go. They didn't go. They stayed in the back. So you can now see what going in the back versus, well, staying in the back versus going into the middle, the difference in doing damage. So this is the Kitakaze we got the lucky explosion on. But yeah, as you see with 186 with HE, 152k with armor piercing, 53k with fires. We took 76k and we still lived with 11k at the end. And this is just what you can do when you go outside the bay, even when you go alone. And don't stay in the bay. You're not. It's not good. It's a bad habit. Go outside the bay. Be smart about it. And you can do well. See, we got 445, 450k in credits, and we're only using green boosters because there's a plus 50 on the ship with the as is. Yeah, it would be under economic bonuses because the special ships get plus 50% to credits and half the tech tree ship service cost. So they can still make decent credits. They're not going to make as many credits as tier 9s, but considering they're generally stronger ships, actually they kind of do make about the same amount of credits. And for like meh tier 9s, like the really overpowered tier 9s, those are going to make more credits. But the alright decent ones, the tier 10 good ships are probably going to make a little bit more. Or at least make it easier to make more credits. With that said, if you like this video, you want to see more videos that I make, you click that subscribe button. You'll get a notifications that when I make a video, so that you don't have to wait for when I decide to post it on Discord or whenever that is. Or you could wait for when I post it on Discord and not click that button. And you do you. That said, I do hope to see you again next week. Have a good one.